So you just got done building a sweet solar setup, and your wife looks at that and says, there is no way that's going in my house. All them wires hanging out everywhere. What do? Well, I'm going to show you what I did, and maybe it'll provide some creative inspiration to those who are wanting to start or have started building something sweet, but you want to incorporate it where it's aesthetic, pretty to look at, and it just flows with the general environment of where you're putting it. I'm going to show you what I did, and maybe this will help some of you guys out there.
This is my very first coffee table. It was a solar coffee table, and I'm going to go through the first one I made, which is right here, and then I'm going to show you the one I'm working on now, which has some improvements that we'll go over. But first off, this is the right side of the coffee table, and what I did was I had I wanted to be able to sit down and kind of operate everything. At least that was my thought process. So what I did is, let me start from the front. So I just have a cabinet, and you open the cabinet, and it had a compartment for all my components there, and then one for the battery. It was really good for a short period of time. It's my first concept, but really it was not designed very efficiently. There was no room in the bottom for my batteries. There's a 2.4 kilowatt battery pack that I have here. I'll just show you that real quick. It's a 24 volt battery. My BMS on top made that wood box. So I run kitchen and bath cabinets in Northwest Arkansas, by the way. So I realize that many of you are not going to have access to a lot of this equipment, and for that I do apologize, but maybe this will still give some inspiration. So what I did was here's my 2000 watt inverter, 12 volt. So originally I had a 12 volt battery. This was connected to the coffee top, the wood top. It had an outlet in there, and you could sit there, and the idea, this was from my dad. He'd turn it on. He can use his stuff in the morning when he's drinking his coffee. So I had everything out here. I had my solar charge controller was right here. And then right here is where I had the solar panel. The cables came out here for charging. So that being Solar Table 1.0, I'm going to show you what I have done differently the second time around, and hopefully it's an improvement. So everything here in my second go round, I put in this center panel. Right, so right here is going to be a drawer you can pull out. My dad has his batteries and stuff like that. Down here is the battery compartment and the components, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. And so basically, instead of the breaker that I had, I'll have this connected to the breaker, so it'll be an on and off switch instead. And then I went over how I put this thing in, but this is my little USB. It has little USB chargers on the side. Pretty cool. And then I'm making a top for it, and I'll show you that awesomeness here when we get to that. And then over here is where my cables are going to come out for my solar panel. So I just got the cabinet painted, got it back to the house, and now I'm about to start putting it all back together. So here this is the inverter switch. I put it through, screwed it in from the front. This is my remote display for the charge controller. So I've just been pushing that through, tightening down the nuts. All right. So I fed it in. All I did was I fed in the wire. So we're gonna go ahead and screw this in. So I just need to make sure that the word push is nice and straight. straight enough, at least straight enough for me. All right, let's see. I think it looks pretty good right there. So I'm gonna put in, and you could pre-drill these holes. Oh, dang that, I have to fix that. Probably best to pre-drill these holes before you screw them. Let's see if I can get one in there. No, we're gonna have to pre-drill it. 1/16 drill bit, and we're gonna try this again, but instead of punching holes in the cabinets, we're gonna see if we can't. I know it looks like I've never done this before. Can't get the drill bit to stay in. Punching holes in the cabinets. All right, let's see. All right, you don't want to go in too much, man. You'll break the plastic. All right, so I'm going to do this all the way around. Look how nice that is. And then we'll see how this works. So I'll be back when I got this on. All right, so I got it in. Looks like it works okay. So basically I just put it, I centered it with that. And this is what it looks like from behind the cabinet. So fits in there nice and snug. You know, if you are real picky about, you know, nails coming out the back end, because this is only a 1/2 inch wall and these are longer than 1/2 inches, you can come in and clip them off, but I'm personally not worried about it. So now that that's on, you have this piece, which is, it's a nice sticker that goes with it, so I'll peel the tape off and put that on. All right. So right here, and I really do apologize. I actually had a nice camera and I used to do a lot of video and editing, but my shutter broke and I've been so busy, so I'm just kind of iPhoning it. And so it's not gonna look professional video, and I apologize for that. But what I'm gonna do is, this is the circuit breaker to the battery. Put a different screw. Have all my screws right here. A handy dandy. So this is going to be my circuit breaker to the battery, and then it's going to go to the switch right here, and then the switch is going to continue on. Yeah, so just a disclaimer, I do run kitchen and bath cabinets in Silent Springs, Arkansas. So if any of you guys are close and have cool ideas, we got a pretty good sized shop, so come check us out. But yeah, I have a CNC machine, so all this, you know, I built the face frame. You know, I got the body parts and the floors, and you know, we have the machines that run the dados and all that. And then over there, I got some nice soft close hinges. So I mean, it's the sweet soft close. So yeah, I know that not everyone has access to that. So you know, I apologize for that, but that's why if you see stuff, you're like, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, we got the setup for it. All right, so I've got my circuit breaker wired to my switch, and then I just attached, this is going to go to the battery positive. And so what I did, and back up so you can see, so I drilled a hole. I'm going to run everything just down. So one of the big goals for me in designing this cabinet was I wanted to control the wires. Just, and by control them, I mean I didn't want them to be just busting out everywhere, because inside that thing it was a mess. So this is my attempt at making everything clean. We'll worry about this dude later. So this battery's gonna sit here. This is going to go to the battery's positive. Down here, I dadoed a piece of solid stock wood, and I did the same up there. Made sort of like a track system. All right, so this is what I did. So I've got this is a 24 volt inverter, and I've got my charge controller there. So see if I can do this. I'm gonna mount the camera a second. I needed both hands to do that, so I've got this thing started in the track. So this is, as opposed to my original one, which just laid horizontal, so this one's gonna go vertical. And so basically the track allows me to take it out when I need to, but I felt like it was the best way to lay this out. See if I can push this in. I might need both hands again. Lay this out where it just wasn't clunky. All right, so I got it in. And so the reason I left this gap right here is to channel all the wires in. So when you see it from the side, you don't see all those wires. So this is kind of what it looks like from the front, and what I mean by clean the wires. So this cable goes to my goes to this thing, but it's all behind this wall, so you don't ever see it. You know, it looks nice and clean. So I've got the remote inverter switch and this wire down through there. So if you come down here, this feeds up through the top. So the way I did it, you basically just, you know, you pull that closed, or you bring that forward, and it's just nice, clean. Everything is behind that wall. So this is 3 inches, if anyone's wondering. All right, now we got these two hooked up. We will move along. So now we're gonna hook the inverter, the positive inverter, to the, actually we're gonna come out to the switch output. I understand that blue is a terrible color for a hot wire, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna use the blue just for demonstrations, because I have to wait on some more red wire that I got coming, so we're just gonna use this. So pretend this is the color red. So we're gonna bring this dude up through the hole. Well, bring this guy up here. Again, this is red, the same color that's coming out, and or I guess you can use blue. The reason I don't like blue is because for hot is because on all my solar charge controllers, blue equals battery negative. So I think it's just a good idea not to, you know, keep everything color coded in a way that makes sense. You know, all right, okay, so that is wired up to the positive here. So the only thing I don't have the battery, which, right. All right, now we're going to move on to hooking the cables up, the solar cables up to the controller. So this is the one part about the design that I just could not figure out what to do. So I just ended up settling, and I got an entry gland, and I decided that we're just going to slap it on like this, and we're just going to live with it. All right, so what I did is I drilled a hole, so that gland is going to cover the hole. And again, like everything else, my positive and negative wires are going to feed down in through that channel, and then they're going to come out these two holes, and they're going to go right in. And that way it's secure, it's clean, and you know, it protects anything from getting tugged on. All right, so let's do this. All right, I got that fastened on. Maybe it looks cool, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. You guys tell me if you got a better way to come up with that. I was bamboozled. All right, so I've got my wires. I got them run down through there, running in back here, sticking out down here. And now they are ready to just go in, you know, positive, positive, negative, negative. So we'll hook them dudes up. All right, we got it wired in. All right, so the one thing I like about this is that it's very secure. You know, and someone like my dad, who he's not the most, you know, proficient and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to make it to where you couldn't really yank on anything and pull it. This is in there tight, so you can't, no way you're gonna pull that. And then that down in there is nice and tight. And I mean, doesn't that look good? It really does. You know, I think, you know, just not having all those wires everywhere. And I know we still got some of these and this to deal with, but you know, there's a lot of wiring going on down here. And it's so clean. This little fuse here, by the way. Total disclaimer, I am not proficient in this kind of stuff. This has been an ongoing hobby of mine for the last couple years. But if you guys see me doing something like wiring this up and you're like, there's a much better way to do it, I am not. Man, I'm still learning a lot. I'm just trying to bring the kind of the creative and the design, the cabinet expertise to the field. So I am open for all kinds of suggestions. All right, time, I think we can bring the battery over and see if this thing works. Before we get to setting the battery up, I just realized I painted everything, so I had the drawer front and I had the door put on, but we're gonna go ahead and slap these hinges back on it, and we're gonna see what this dude looks like with doors. And this is these are soft close hinges for those who are interested. I get them from Hayfla, and I have a hinge machine, so I drill these beforehand with a door hinge machine. But this just gives you an idea of what the process looks like. It's nice and gentle. I don't want to strip anything out. All right, so I got the hinges on them. Now I'm going to put on the handle. All right, we got the door on. I'll just talk a little bit about how I did the door. So you remember when we were looking at it, I got all that stuff in the front. Well, I did not want to see that when the door closes. I want it to look like a normal cabinet. That way if people come over, you know, it looks normal. So, you know, one thing I did, I hinged it the first time around like I hinged normal doors, but it ended up in here, so I just had to move that down. So, you know, that way when you close it, you know, I know I don't have the drawer in yet, but that's got a nice look. I mean, you can't deny, there's no denying that. You know, there's a little push button right over here. Boy, that's slick. Look at that. Then it goes in. We'll finish wiring this dude up and make sure that works. The drawer front I got to take back to my shop because I have a jig on how to put that on so it's nice and square, and I don't want to risk messing it up, so we'll have to show you that tomorrow. Alright, so for this switch, it comes with a plug just like this. So I fed it up through a hole right there, and I used these screws that have like this flat, almost like a washer like head, and I kind of just lightly screwed them in to hold them in place, and then I zip tied the rest and called it a day. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to call it good for now, and I'll just have to figure something out later. So, all right, now I think we're ready to drag that battery over here and see if we can get some juice going. All right, we got this dude hooked up. So what I have here, this is a 2.4 kilowatt battery. So I got my positive and then my negative coming in there. I built this wood box around it just because I like things to look nice and to protect it. And I drilled holes around it for some airflow. If you're gonna be using this for heavy duty stuff, probably would not recommend having something so airtight, but my dad just does stuff like, you know, run lamps and charges things, so I'm not too worried about it in this situation. But I got my BMS and that's wired. I got that connected to my inverter. I don't have this thing grounded yet. I'm waiting on my DC fuse block to get in, and I usually just ground them all together. But all right, so let's come over here. Let's see if we can get some power going. All right, so I'm going to get the main breaker on. So this is do or die. Let's see what we got. Oh, look at that. We got power. That is so cool. All right. Inverter is on. All right, we're working. All right, so now I am going to go find something. We're gonna test out this dude and make sure this guy's working. So I will be right back. All right, so I got a couple things like hooked up to the inverter. All right, so I got my little flashlight here, which takes USB, so do or die. This better work. I paid like 70 bucks for it. All right. Oh, looky there. We have power. We have power. So I'll step back and see what that looks like. Man, that is so much nicer than that big old outlet. You know, originally I was thinking about getting it's like a USB bank, and you basically raise it up. It's a tower, but I ended up putting a drawer there, so that idea didn't work. But just for kicks and giggles, let's see if the main inverter works. We got power there. So this system, we're almost done. Getting close. I've been working on this for a few weeks now. I've been so busy at work that, you know, can't get to it whenever I want. But tomorrow I'm gonna get that drawer head on. Cat's guarding the drawer, and then I'll show you what this thing looks like all together. Yeah, and so I'm gonna be building a wood top, but not like that. There's gonna be no outlet in the top. There's gonna be no anything in the top. And I'll give you a sneak peek because it's gonna be pure badassery. At least I hope so. I have no idea what I'm doing really. I just am chasing a cool idea, and we're gonna see what happens. So I got the drawer in. Nice soft close. So basically what I did was to have these tracks, you know, they attach to the side of the face frame and then to the back of the cabinet. I just want you guys to see, you know, everything works good. Misses these wires. Beautiful. There she is. There she is. So here's the wood top that I'm going to put on it. That's 3/4 inch plywood, solid stock edge banding, and it's got a build up, so it's going to sit right on top. And it's not going to come down too far, so that way it doesn't hit the doors, the top of the doors. That's why we put this build up in there. So now we're going to throw some sand sealer on it and get this thing ready to paint. So this is it, the final product, the end result. So there it is. That was my solar coffee table. I think it turned out well. I had a lot of fun building it. Hopefully it provided someone out there with some creative inspiration. Let me know what you guys didn't like, or think I should do differently next time, and good luck with your own projects.